Have you ever been told you just need to reduce your stress? And instead of that feeling helpful at all, you almost felt frustrated because maybe you're thinking, I know I'm stressed. I feel anxious. I don't sleep well. I feel on edge most days, but I don't know how to make that stop. That was me. I was trying to figure out the real reason for why I was so stressed, why vacations didn't fix it, why weekends didn't fix it, why checking everything off of my to do list didn't fix it. Today, we're going to talk about why. Because once I understood what my body had been trying to tell me, instead of assuming it was working against me, it changed the way I looked at my anxiety, my autoimmune disease, my healing, and honestly, it changed the way I saw myself. And if you've ever wondered why you can't seem to think, supplement, meditate, or healthy habit your way out of feeling this way, this episode is for you. Welcome back to the Whole She Rises podcast. Your body has never been trying to just make your life harder. It's been trying to help you survive. Today, we're talking about one of the biggest pieces of that environment, your chronic stress load. And I promise this isn't another conversation of just reduce your stress. We all hear that. It's something so much deeper than that. When most of us hear the word stress, maybe we picture deadlines, financial pressure, family conflict, busy schedules. And yes, those things absolutely matter, but that's only one kind of stress. Your body has a much broader definition of it. And before we go any further, I also want to say something that I think is really important. The goal isn't a stress free life. That's not realistic, right? And honestly, it's not even healthy. It's been proven that some stress is actually good for us. Exercise is a stressor. Learning something new can be a stressor. Having a meaningful conversation or challenge, those can be stressors. Even exciting things like starting a new job that you're excited about or a child starting college, those can all be stressful. Our bodies were beautifully designed to respond to stress and then recover from it. The problem isn't that we experience stress. The problem is when our bodies never fully get to experience recovery. When one season of stress rolls into the next and then the next until surviving becomes our new normal. So the goal is really becoming a person and creating a life that allows your body to experience stress, but then recovery, safety, and resilience again. I think back on my own life before I understood any of this, and honestly, I knew I was stressed, right? I always felt anxious. I knew I didn't sleep well. I knew I had a really hard time relaxing. I wasn't denying any of that, and I'm sure you're not. What I couldn't understand was why. From the outside, my life looked pretty good. I loved my family. I had a career I was proud of. I was capable, really responsible, the person people could always count on. But inside, I always felt like I needed to just stay one step ahead. I was always mentally planning, problem solving, anticipating, thinking about what needed to happen next all the time. I remember asking myself, why can't I ever just relax? I prayed, right? I tried to think more positively. I tried to organize my life better. I thought maybe if I could just get caught up, maybe then I'd finally feel restful and peaceful. But that day never came. For years, I viewed my body as the obstacle, the thing I needed to overcome, the thing I needed to fix and make better. I don't think I ever would have really said those words out loud, but looking back, that's exactly how I treated it. Every symptom felt like evidence that my body was failing me, when in reality, my body had been working really hard to protect me all along. Looking back now, I realize I was just asking the wrong question. I kept wondering, what's wrong with me? When I should have been asking, What has my body been trying to tell me? Because it wasn't proof that something was wrong with me. It was my body communicating something that I just hadn't learned how to hear yet. Once I understood that, everything started to look different. I started to see I wasn't broken. My body wasn't confused. It was responding exactly the way a body responds after carrying too much for way too long. I just hadn't understood its language yet. And when I look back over my life, I can see it wasn't just one stressful season. There was perfectionism, always feeling responsible, pushing through exhaustion, an autoimmune disease, but also perimenopause, trauma, divorce. None of those experiences happened in isolation. My body had been carrying them all. I just didn't realize how heavy that load had become. Looking back now, I picture it like this. Imagine you're hiking with a backpack. At the beginning of the trail, someone hands you a small rock. No problem. Then someone else hands you another rock. Still manageable. But then another and another. Every season of life is like another rock. A difficult season, an illness, poor sleep, hormonal changes, people-pleasing, loss, perfectionism, trauma, inflammation, maybe overtraining and undereating, caretaking. Eventually, you have forgotten what it feels like to walk without that backpack. You've carried it for so long, it just simply feels normal. Until one day, maybe your knees hurt, your back hurts, you're exhausted, and you assume something must suddenly be wrong with your body. But the truth is, it wasn't one rock. It was the cumulative load. I think that's exactly what happens with chronic stress. It isn't always one catastrophic event. It's years of your body adapting without ever getting enough opportunity to truly recover. And here's what I wish someone had told me years ago. The goal isn't to create a life with no stress. None of us get that life. The goal is helping your body learn that it doesn't have to stay in survival mode every minute of every day. Those are two very different things. One of the biggest shifts for me was realizing our bodies, they really are incredibly smart. They're designed really well to protect us. When your brain believes you're living under constant demand, whether that's physical, emotional, chemical, or even internal pressure that you place on yourself, it sends signals throughout the body. One of the biggest shifts in my healing wasn't learning something new about hormones or about autoimmune disease or inflammation. I spent years assuming it had been working against me. But what if it had been working for me the whole time? Maybe not perfectly, but faithfully, doing everything it knew to do to keep me alive. And once I started seeing my body that way, I stopped fighting it and I started listening to it and partnering with it. And that really did change everything. This was another huge mindset shift for me. Stress isn't just what happens to us. It's what our body has to adapt to. That means it can come from autoimmune flares, poor sleep, blood sugar swings, hormonal changes, chronic pain, grief, infection, constant notifications, never resting, or years of believing your worth depends on your productivity. Your body doesn't separate those into categories. Your body isn't asking, how strong are you? It's asking, how much have I been asked to carry? And how long have I been carrying it? So maybe the question isn't, why am I like this? Maybe it's, what has my body been faithfully carrying for me? Because those are two very different questions. I think many of us greatly underestimate the power of the answer. I know I did. One of my greatest hopes is that women leave these conversations with more than just information. I hope you leave with compassion, compassion for yourself, compassion for your body, because for so many years, I believed my own body had betrayed me. Now I see something completely different. I see a body that never stopped trying to protect me, even when it became exhausted, even when it became inflamed, even when it no longer felt safe or knew how to settle down. That realization, it didn't just change my health, it changed my relationship with myself and my body. And I believe that's where healing often has to begin, not in striving harder, but in finally understanding what your body has been trying to say all along. And here's the really hopeful part. Our nervous systems can learn safety again. Our bodies can become more resilient again. Healing isn't about becoming a different person. It's about helping your body finally realize that the danger has passed. And for me, that changed everything. So maybe this week, instead of judging your body, try to get really curious about it. Instead of asking, what's wrong with me again? Ask what my body may be asking for today. For rest, nourishment, maybe some connection, maybe some more margin, more grace. Healing doesn't always begin with doing more or finding more. Sometimes it begins with just listening differently. And if today's conversation resonated with you, this video on your screen is the perfect next step. It's where I share the realization that completely changed the way I understood my hormones, autoimmune symptoms, inflammation, and healing. Let's keep connecting these dots together and keep rising. I'll meet you there.